So last class we had discussed with balance of payment. What is balance of payment? What are the different types of accounts it consists? Today we'll be discussing about the equilibrium or disequilibrium in the balance of payment. Now what is equilibrium? It is the state of balance of payment over the relevant time period where total receipts equals total payment. Now we have understood in the last class that balance of payments deals with the total exports as well as imports for a given country at a given period of time. Now when do we call that balance of payment at a state of equilibrium? When I say equal, that means the total number of exports is equal to the total number of imports. Say for India, the last financial year we had 1 crore worth rupees import. Also, we had 1 crore worth rupees export. So this condition where the exports amount is equal to the import amount, this situation or state is said to be equilibrium in balance of payment. But in reality, it is not possible. There's always disequilibrium in balance of payment. Even when we take our own country's example and their respective balance of payments, we observe there is not equilibrium, but we observe there is disequilibrium. That is, what we see is we are importing more than what we are exporting. So even if one of these concept or one of these exports or imports goes imbalance, it will result in disequilibrium of balance of payment. Let's understand what are the major causes of disequilibrium. What causes imports to be higher than exports? Three major causes we'll be discussing today. Point A is import related causes. Point B is export related causes. Point C is other causes. Point A, import related causes. Population growth, development programs, import of essential items, reduction of import duties, and demonstration effect. These are the 5 major top causes why we have disequilibrium. The number one, of course, is population growth. If we take the example of our own country, India is the second most populated country in the entire world or the globe. So automatically when the population increases, the needs or desires or wants of people multiply. And therefore, in order to meet these needs or wants, our own resources would be insufficient. Therefore, we largely depend upon imported goods in order to satisfy our needs or wants. So the number one reason is population growth. Growing population results in higher amount of imports. Next is development program. So every 5 years once we have the government planning the 5-year plans, right? Or annually also government of India makes a lot of developmental programs, right? Usually in every developing countries these programs are made, right? So in order for these programs to be executed, again you will be depending upon the imported goods, right? Such as you may import goods, raw material, technology, some kind of equipments, machinery, etc. Right? So as a process of this development program, imports will increase day by day or year by year, which causes deficit. Next, we have the third one, import of essential items. So there are certain essential items or necessary needs without which the living would be challenging, right? So in order for our day-to-day living or our economy to function effectively, there are certain essential items that we require, without which the functioning becomes challenging, right? It can be like crude oil or petroleum, etc., right? So because of which the government have to resort to heavy imports. Now, without petrol, even though we are good at automobile industry, just by increasing the number of manufacture of automobile does not result in usage, isn't it? Just by having a vehicle is not sufficient. Just owning a car or a four-wheeler or two-wheeler would not be sufficient before you can use it. Therefore, petrol is necessary for that good or machine to successfully run. So therefore, certain imports of essential items will become a necessity for the respective government, which again will result in high import. Number 4, reduction of import duties. When import duties are reduced, right, imports will definitely become cheaper. There are certain category of goods and services where the imports duties, taxes, octroi, transportation charges, everything is very less. Now, because the cost of import is less, people tend to depend more on imported goods than purchase its own domestic goods. So, therefore, the one of the major cause for increase in exports are reduction in duties. So government has to regulate every year or every once in 6 months that duties or these taxes or charges have been changed accordingly. And then we have number 5, demonstration effect. Now what is the word which means demonstrate? Demonstrate means to copy, right? Or to be like one, or to be like someone. That's called as demonstrating, right? So when we as our country from underdeveloped country, now we are a developing country. So slowly we would want to become a developed country, a fully developed country. Now in order to attain that, we tend to demonstrate the life or I would say the living standard, the taste and preferences, the goods and services that the developed countries enjoy. We would also like to have them. So basically we are trying to imitate those people living in the developed countries. That effect is known as demonstration effect. So when you're in this process of imitating or demonstrating their standard of living, you tend to import more foreign goods and use less of domestic products or services. So this was the first reason. Point A, import related causes. Next we have export related causes. Again, the first reason here would be increase in population. Now, goods which were earlier exported may be consumed by the raising population. So, here, point B, what are we trying to study is, we are trying to study why is our country's exports reducing. Okay, why is our country's exports reducing? So number 1 is increase in population. So as and when day by day the population is increasing, the more needs or goods or services that we ourselves are manufacturing is mostly consumed by our own population or by our own economy. There's very less left in order to export to the foreign countries. Let me repeat that. Because there is an increase in population, there is a consumption rate of goods and services will increase tremendously. As a result, we will have very less percentage of goods and services to be exported to foreign countries. Second, inflation. Now, inflation in a simple meaning is the increase in prices of goods and services, right? You can see the picture over there. 1 cup of a coffee, right? How the price of a cup of coffee has changed over the years. Now, why has it changed? Or what is the change known as? It is known as inflation, right? Where more money is chasing lesser amount of goods and services. So whenever there's inflation, right, the prices of export goods increases. So therefore, people would not like to export, right, from our country. So whenever there's inflation, right, when the prices of goods and services increase, automatically the exports will reduce, because other countries who are importing from our country would want goods and services at a affordable prices. Now, when because of this system or the state called as inflation, they try and reduce importing. So that will directly impact our exports. Next, we have the third cause called as appreciation of currency. Appreciation of home currency. Now, what does this concept talk about? Let's say, for an example, $1 equals to 60 rupees. Okay, and now the point says appreciation of currency. That means now $1 will be equal to 50 rupees only, isn't it? Now, before appreciation, let's say USA would be receiving 60 rupees. Now, because our currency is appreciated, okay, $1 will be equal to 50 rupees. They will receive less amount of money, because previously how much they used to receive? 60 rupees. Now how much are they receiving? 50 rupees. So how does this affect export? It reduces the demand for export goods, right? So people would try and reduce the number of export goods or goods to be imported from our country gradually, right? So what happens? Exporting country will get less cash inflow. Understood? Appreciation of currency will make the other country reduce the number of cash inflow. Next one, we have discovery of substitutes. So every day we see there's always a technological advancement that's happening in our economy. Therefore, because of this technological development, countries would start manufacturing goods or services within their domestic boundaries. Therefore, they would not like to import goods from our country. So, because there is a technological development in their respective governments or economies, they would try and reduce importing from other country and try making their own goods and services. Fourth is discovery of substitutes. Now again, that comes up to, we have always a substitute for the most, even the best of the product. Like let's say, instead of using rubber, we have widely used plastic, right? Instead of cotton, we have synthetic, or we have fiber in place of it. So because there is alternatives available or substitutes available in the market, it will definitely reduce the demand for the actual raw material requirement. So these are the 5 different causes that is related to export. So apart from import and other export, what are the other causes? Again, we have 5 factors over here. Flight of capital. What does it talk about? It is the outflow of capital from a country due to negative monetary policies such as currency depreciation, etc. So where the money is or there is a cash outflow from the country. Remember, flight of capital is cash outflow. Any country would prosper or be wealthy when there is more cash inflow. That is why we are studying balance of payments, where we can see how can we increase our exports over our imports, right? Now, opposite is flight of capital. The inflow of money is not sufficient. In fact, there is more outflow of money, right? Either because of the monetary policy set up by the respective governments or economies. Next, we have globalization. Now, globalization has brought definitely a more open environment, right, in terms of trade, in terms of business. It has a positive as well as negative effects on imports, exports, and also investments. Now, there are certain countries who are actually coping up with this new environment called as global trade, or what do you call it as otherwise, the world trade, where the entire world is termed as one single market. But there are certain countries who are not able to cope up, right? There are certain poor countries or backward economies which are actually having challenges in coping up with globalization. So therefore, they cannot be actually a part of the growing business economy. Third is cyclical transmission. What do you mean by cyclical transmission? Now we have studied what is a product life cycle. There's an introduction stage, there's a growth stage, there's a maturity, there's decline, there's saturation, etc. So in short, we can say there's recession, there's depression, or there's inflation, etc. These cycles not only come for a product, it can occur in terms of an entire economy as well, right? Even India has gone through the recession, right? Maybe the banking sector had given a good support during those times, etc. Every country goes through, right? So when a country goes through certain cyclical transmission, all the other neighboring countries who are in contact in terms of trade will get affected. Now, let's say one of the most leading countries in our world is USA. Now, let's say USA itself goes into recession, right? Or or it becomes the highest headlines on the news or on the media whenever there is a presidential election of USA. Now, why is that a catch of the eye every time? That is because it is one of the leading countries in the world. Whatever happens in USA, or whoever gets to the power or position of the government of USA, would definitely, his rules or regulations or the subjective government's policies would impact all the other countries who are dependent upon USA, who are having trade relationship with USA. Next, we have cultural adjustments. Cultural adjustments. So many countries in recent years are undergoing cultural changes. Now, these economies are being liberalized, right? Now, what does it mean structural adjustment means? Let's say it is just a set of economic reforms or policies or certain rules where a country must adhere to. Why should they adhere? They should follow it up in order to secure some kind of financial help from the International Monetary Fund or even the World Bank, right? So this includes reducing government spending or opening up free trade and so on. So that can be another cause for disequilibrium. Number 5 is political factors. Now, every party that comes to power in a state, central, or a nation wise, or even economy wise, definitely will impact our balance of payments. Because if that political party or department is unstable, right, definitely it will disrupt, right, the productive progress of a trade, in the country. So what can it cause? It can cause decline in export and it will result in increase in import. What do we need at the end of the day? We want exports to overlap imports. Because of political factors, it happens the reverse. Imports start increasing and export starts decreasing. So these are the three different causes that result in disequilibrium. We studied about the import related causes, export related causes, and other causes.